If you would like an opportunity to be on Crazy Love Chronicles and tell your story of betrayal, infidelity, ghosting, being ghosted, catfish, and many more things, crazy relationships, contact us at crazylovechronicles@gmail.com or send us a message on any of our social media platforms and we will contact you. Please stay tuned for our next session. Our story, your story, real and uncut.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Crazy Love Chronicles with your host, Chanel Black. Today, I would like to reintroduce Renee. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Chanel.
Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Awesomeness. And so, Renee would like to share part 3 of her story of a crazy relationship experience.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit of backstory or how it began. How did you and this individual meet?
Okay, so me and this guy met online. It was pretty innocent and, light. Usually when I'm talking to people online, I don't get too personal. I'm just getting to know a person and once we take it offline and decide to be serious, that's where I go from there. So for about a year, I spoke to this guy online off and on. He was really cool. He seemed nice. He was funny. After the year had passed, we had kind of pressed the issue of us meeting in person. So I was like, okay, I've been talking to him for a while. Why not? Let's just meet up. So we decided to meet up in a neutral location that was kind of equal distance to both of us because he lived little ways out. Like he was probably about 30 minutes away from where I was. So we agreed to meet in a neutral location. So when we met, I thought he was attractive. He was equally just as funny as in person as he was online. We seemed really cool and together, and we hit it off. We started talking more on the phone, and we started just meeting up. Instead of talking online all the time, we just decided to just see each other for a little bit.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, what was the hesitation? Was it just that you just kind of were a little skeptical of meeting people online, or were you just busy with your own life?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was just super busy with my own life that, I really didn't have time to meet anybody like that. And talking to people online is convenient, but I don't really take it serious unless we take it offline. So, he had hinted around meeting in person even during the time we were talking online. And I was just like, I really don't have the time. And I just want to keep it online for now because I really wasn't interested in meeting him in person. Just that, like, he was cool, but it wasn't nothing about him that made me want to be like, I want to meet him. It was just conversation. And, later on, time had passed. I was like, wow, I've been talking to this guy for about a year, and I ain't never even actually met him. And, he's been so nice and so cool. And I hadn't really been in a relationship for roughly about 2 years. I was just working, going to school, doing all these different things. And, I really wasn't focused on trying to be in a relationship. So once we met in person, I liked him. He was warm-hearted. He was kind, nice big guy. I like big buff guys and everything. So it was just like, he kind of fit the bill a little bit. I didn't really know much about his personality too much until I started spending time with him. But I did enjoy first encounter, and we went from there.
Okay. So after your first encounter and everything, where does it go? How does it unfold?
So it unfolded roughly in a matter of weeks. We, got close really quick. We talked almost every day. He wanted to see me a lot, so he would make trips to come see me. We'd meet each other in neutral locations and just hang out. And then, he wanted me to see where he lived at, so I drove where he was and, met his family, because he lived with his siblings and his parents. They were just, one big little happy family. So I came over there and met them, and they were all cool and everything. And it was just, he lived in the Baltimore area, so it was like, it's kind of not that far, but it was a bit of a drive for me. But I didn't mind it because it was just a way for me to get out of the house, get away for a little bit. So I spent a good little amount of time over there in that area with him. He showed me around different places in Baltimore. We hang out, we go eat. We just had a lot of fun with each other. He was quirky,
Mm-hmm.
Into video games and, stuff like that. He was like this big glitch kind of guy, but into like nerdy stuff. It was just kind of weird, but.
Okay, but you liked it. You liked
but I
the.
liked it, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what happens from there? Do you start to maybe kind of see signs or start to have different experiences with him?
Yeah, so, me, I'm very inquisitive when it comes to, who I give my heart to. So we did start to get pretty serious. We both decided that we wanted to be exclusive to each other. So it was like, okay, let's date, but I don't want to date anybody else. I kind of just want to, fill things out with you and see where it goes. So that's what we agreed on. And then, of course, I would ask questions like, have you ever been married? Children. We went through our little spill where we were just kind of talking about our past and things like that.
Now,
And
this is in person. This is in person.
Yeah,
so these aren't
exactly.
questions that you asked online.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in person. So I'm inquisitive. I'm asking him about, past relationships. Has he ever been married? And things like that. So he did reveal to me that he was married before and that he had children. And, I'm like, okay, so, what happened with the marriage? And, he was just like, there was a domestic situation that happened. And that was like the first red flag for me. And I'm like, domestic, how so? Like, what was the domestic situation? So he's like, of course he's painting it like, I'm not going to say painting it because I believed it. Like, he was just like, she claimed that I was abusive to her. And I was like, she claimed that proven. And he's like, no, she claimed that I was abusive to her. And, she filed a report against me. And so he gave me this whole story about his ex-wife. They were living together and she claimed he was violent towards her.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. And he was like, that never happened. She was cheating and doing things behind my back or whatever. And, yeah, I've gotten angry with her before, but I've never put my hands on her and things like that. And I was like, okay. So he's like, she filed a report and, we had to go to court and things like that, but nothing was, nothing happened. The case kind of like went out or whatever. So he said, I decided to leave the house and, move out. And I was like, okay. So I'm doing my research as he's talking about this stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, let me see if there's any public records about this. Like, cause I can be like, yeah, I trust you. But I don't have her side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. So I'm trying to like look up, information about him and seeing if I see any records and stuff. And I see like some public court records that talk about a domestic situation and that it was filed, but nothing, ever came out of it. And there was a report of her going to like a shelter for battered women. And I was just
that's
like,
public?
Yeah, like it was part of the court information.
Okay,
he told me that
the court
too.
breakdown, the details.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
before you go and start, doing your investigation into what he said, are you feeling like, it doesn't match your personality? You seem like such a nice person. Yeah. You don't seem like the type of guy that would be physically violent towards a female.
Exactly. And I'm listening to him and I'm trusting him because he's very charismatic, He has a way with words, and he sounds very sincere. And I'm just like, why would she say that? Why would she do all of these things, and why would she leave? And he's just like, every time he talked about it, he got very angry about it, and he was just like, he talked about it for a little bit, and he was just like, I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Like,
right.
It was a thing that happened in the past. I'm glad that we're not together anymore. She has a boyfriend. I'm moving on. It's been a couple of years, and I'm just like, okay.
And they don't have kids together?
They have one child together.
So they did have a child together.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
And so you're looking at everything online, you see the court cases and everything, and you see some details that shows that she's had to go to a shelter at some point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Do you find more stuff, or do you just keep it to yourself? Do you share it with him?
I don't share it with him.
You
I
said you
kept it to
didn't?
my. I did. I share it with him.
Okay.
I kept it to myself, and we just kind of went through with our relationship. It started moving so fast. Like, we had these conversations about our past. It was just like, okay, everything's on the table, And then he started pushing for marriage. Now, mind you, the course of our relationship was 4 months.
Okay.
That's it, beginning to end, 4 months. This man started talking about marriage in like the 2nd month. And I was just like, I don't know if what was going on in my head. Like, I don't know if I had my brain on auto drive or what, but I was just going along with whatever he was saying. And I was just like, what is going on with me? So he would talk about marriage. We started, like, we would go to the malls and stuff, and he, like, let's go into the jewelry store and look at rings and stuff. And I was just, in my brain, I'm like, why am I doing this? So I'm just going into the jewelry store with him. He's looking at rings and, all these different things. I'm just like, he's like, I can see myself with you, and, you're a really good woman. And I was just like, yeah, you're a good guy. I can tell you're family oriented and everything. But the thing that always I wondered in my mind was his situation with his children. He confided in me that he was having some issues with getting custody of his son, because he wanted to see his son more, but for some reason the mother wasn't allowing him to. So of course I was like, okay, so what are you doing to try to fix that? And he's like, well, I want to go talk to her and this, that, and the other, but I just don't really know how to do that. And and I was just like, well, why don't you get the courts involved, or for some reason he was just a little naive about stuff like that. It was just like he thought he could handle all that stuff himself. And I was like, well, why don't you get the courts involved and file a report, and you guys can have joint custody and go from there. Like, that's usually how those situations unravel. Like, you can't just go, and then you and this woman don't have a good relationship, it's not going to pan out like that, you know. So he was just like, oh, okay. It was it's like it went over his head. It was like, oh, I got to do all of that, And I was like, yeah. So the defining moment for me in the relationship, first off, he started talking about marriage a lot. And I was like, okay, talking about it is one thing, but, it take a whole lot to get to that marriage situation. So I'm just we could keep talking about it until, it seems like the feasible thing to do. And then he started kind of weaving himself into spending time with me and the people in my life. So he started going to church with me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And first time my pastor met him, my pastor was like, I don't like him.
Oh.
And my pastor didn't tell me this until later on, because he really didn't want to project his feelings into the situation right off, but he didn't like him immediately when he met him. So he's part of my church now. He wants to be a part of the church. I'm like, you've only been here 1 or 2 Sundays, and then you want to become a whole full-blown member of the church.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
wow.
Stuff like that you take time with. So but he didn't. He was just like, I want to be a part of the church. And I was just like, okay, who am I to say no? Like, okay, if you feel that strong about it, fine. So he joined the church. And then I was like, why don't you, start spending some time with some of the fellas at the church, hang out. He's like, well, are you going to be there? And I'm like, no. And I'm just the guys, like, do things with the females. And he's like, well, I don't want to do it if you're not going to do it. And for me, that was an issue. He didn't really have any friends like that. So I was like, well, it's a huge congregation. It's plenty of great guys you can hang out with. I don't have to be there. He's like, well, why would I hang out with people and you're not there? And I'm like, because I don't have to be there. Now, he wanted to hang out with me and my girlfriends. Like, anytime I go out and do something with my girlfriends, he's like, where are we going? And I'm like, you're not going. Like, it's just me. This is girls' night. And he would get so irritated by that. Like, I was hiding something from him that he couldn't be a part of something. He just really took offense to that.
So is he becoming progressively more angry as time goes on?
He's a little agitated with me about stuff like that. Like, I have my friends. You should be able to have your friends. Do what you want to do. It just didn't sit well with him. So, after that, he come over the house, and I was going to school at the time, and I was getting ready for like a final exam or something. He got an attitude because I had to leave the house for a couple of hours to go study with a partner, and I come back in the house, and he's in the house with a hissy fit, like, I don't see why I couldn't help you study and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, you're not even taking a class. Like, I have no clue what I'm studying. Like, why would I study with you with you when you're not taking a class? It was just a few hours. I have a final exam the next day. It'll be over soon, right? And then we can do this. I said, but you're here. We're spending time with each other. It's not like not doing anything. He got agitated about that. Let's say the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when he found out his wife or his ex-wife got killed.
Oh.
She got killed. And for me, it was sad. I'm sad when anybody passes away. I don't know you or anything. I have sympathy for people, period. So I want to be there to support him. So I take off of work. I drive up to Baltimore for the day to go with him to the funeral. So we go to the funeral. I don't know anything about her family. All I know is about the situation between him and her. But I don't know that I'm about to walk into a war zone, at this funeral, because nobody likes this man. I go with him, his mom, and his sister. I decided to drive. I said, I'll drive you guys. You guys can ride with me. Don't have to worry about it. And they were like, okay. So I get in the house, and, the funeral's starting in like an hour or so, and they're just lollygagging in the house. And I'm just like, why is everybody just kind of like taking their time? And, they're all just like, just joyous, like they're doing like they're about to go celebrate something. To me, this was like really sad. So they're just like sitting around laughing and joking, and they made this joke about her, and I just did not find it funny at all. And I flipped off the whole family. I was like, I don't know what you people, where you guys, what planet you guys are from. We're about to go to a funeral. Somebody has lost their life. I said, this woman had your child. At some point in your life, you did love her, you did care about her. Can we just focus on that moment of your life so we can get through this funeral? I said, because all these jokes and all this other stuff is inappropriate, and I took the day off to be here to support y'all. But I can go back home.
Right, I can go right
and
back
I walk my ass right out the door to my car. I'm leaving in 5 minutes.
Right.
They all just looked at me like I was crazy. I closed the door behind me. I went and sat in my car. About 2-3 minutes later, they was all coming out. And we get to the church, and it's like, we drive up past the woman's mother. Her mom was going inside, and you have to ride past the entrance of the church in order to get into the parking lot. And he was like, oh, that's her mom. I was like, oh, okay. And so he rolls the windows down, and he's like, talking to the mother, and he's like, where's my son? Do you have my son? And she's like, and he's here. She looked irritated as soon as she sees him. And he's like, oh, okay. And he gets out the car. So I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to go get my son. And I was like, okay. So he jumps out the car. I go park the car. Me, his mom, and his sister are walking back towards the entrance of the church. So we come up, and he's talking to the mother of his ex-wife. And they're like, kind of like going back and forth. And so I walk up, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, this is not the time to talk about this. I just lost my daughter. If you want to talk about your son, we can do this at another time. He's just like, I just want to see my son. And he's fussing and everything. And I was just like,
man, he's creating a scene at this funeral.
Yes, he is. So I'm like, I think you need to chill. Like, I'm, holding him by the arm. I'm like, I think you need to chill and wait this out. Like, this is not the time. And he's just like, I just want to see my son. And I'm just like, yeah, I get that, but it's not the time. And I'm like apologizing to the mother. I'm like, I'm sorry, my condolences, da da da. And I'm walking him into the church. So we go into church. The church is packed. So we go to the front. I'm thinking I want to sit in the back somewhere. I don't
Wow.
want to sit in the front. He's like, no, you're going to sit with me. And I was just like, okay. So I'm walking up with him. We're sitting on the, all the way towards the front. And I am just so uncomfortable. I've never been so uncomfortable in my life. Because it's like, I can feel all of the looks of her family on him, not even on me. Like, I can just feel them looking at him. I'm looking around. It's clear these people do not like him. Why did he come? You know?
Right, right.
So his mom and his sister were talking to like the ex-wife siblings. I guess they know each other or whatever. So they were just chatting and talking, and they were cool. You know, they were just real calm. Everybody was calm and stuff. And then he just keeps busting conversations. It's my son. You know, and so the son was there. I see the little boy sitting. He's talking to him and everything. And then he goes up to her brother, and he's like, you know, I need my son. It's like his grandmother keeps trying to, hold him hostage or whatever. And he's like, girl, like, she takes care of him. You know what I'm saying? His mom isn't here anymore. We understand you, the dad, this, that, and the other. It's like, but right now, this funeral is not the time. Everybody keeps saying the same thing. It's not the time.
Right.
So we all sit down. The funeral starts. It progresses and everything, and then they come up to the remarks where people are kind of like getting up and talking about the deceased and everything, and he gets up to say something.
Oh my goodness. Uh-oh.
Just sitting there like, oh boy, this is not my day. So he gets up. He looks like he's sad, but I know he ain't sad about her. I know that now. And I'm just like, he's just up there talking about, I know it was a rough relationship, and I know some of y'all don't really like me, and this, that, and the other. And, I just want to be a good father to my son. And he just keep going on about his son. And then I can just see people just looking so disturbed and irritated, like, why is this dude even here? Right. And so he says his remarks and he sits down. And my heart is just pounding like, oh my God, we are not supposed to be here. So then the funeral's over. Everybody's walking around talking, people are just consoling the grandmother and different people in the family, her immediate family and stuff. And her dad was there. Her dad is like this real, fly looking old dude, who looked like he, probably did some time.
You say he looks like he probably did some time?
He just looked like he probably did some time. I'm just like, what is that? He's like, oh, that's her dad. I was like, oh, okay. So he's walking around or whatever. And this is where it gets crazy. He's talking to the brother. The brother's getting agitated because he doesn't want to table the discussion about the son for another time. So he's like, look, girl, just give me your phone number. You still got the same number. The brother's just really trying to be really,
diplomatic about the situation.
Exactly. The grandmother's like, I want to talk to him. He's crazy. I don't want to do with him. And she's just like kind of walking off with the son. And then the father comes up and he's like, talking to him like, dude, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Come to my daughter's funeral, talking about all this stuff like, you're doing too much right now. This ain't the time. I just lost my daughter, and he's just getting all agitated and angry. And then my friend is just like, he's getting angry inside, and I could tell because he starts breathing all heavy, like he's about to explode, almost like the Hulk.
Oh, wow.
I'm just holding him by the arm, and I'm just like, hey, babe, it's cool. Come on. They're right. This is not the time. I'm trying to be, the person to kind of diffuse the situation. So then the father walks off very angry, and I'm still looking at the father. The father went towards the back of the church. He's talking to some young guys. I guess they part of the family or whatever. And all I hear him say is, I read his lips. He was like, go get my joint from the car.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, you have to go. And he's like, no, I'm trying to get, he's still trying to push his way onto the family. And I'm like, you're not going to win this. I was like, let's go. So I'm telling his mom, I'm like, look, this ain't going to end well. I said, I think the father is a little upset and it might turn into something.
Right. We all might, we need to get out of here.
I think you need to go. So she's like, oh, okay. You know, they're oblivious. I don't know why I was the only one. And I'm the first time being around all these people, and I know off the break these people don't like them, and they're just oblivious to it. So I'm back in, I'm pulling him. You know, we come outside. I see his father like at a car and talking to a bunch of guys and stuff, and I just hurry up and get to my car. I'm like, come on, go to the car. I hurry up and get to the car. I'm out the parking lot. I'm like, we not talking to nobody. Let's go. You know, I don't know how they got distracted. They were distracted, the father and stuff. So, like, they didn't even really see us leave out because they was on another side of the parking lot, and I was parked a little kind of close to the door. So I was like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed him. I shot out the parking lot so fast, and he was just like, no, I need to go get my son. I'm the father. I should be able to take him. I was like, if you want to do that, let's go to the police station. If it means that much to you, go talk to a police officer. I said, because you are going to mess around and get all of us killed at this church. Obviously, these people don't like you. You know, you're going to have the courts for this.
Right.
So he's like, you know, like a kid that's being chastised. You know, he's bad. So just like whatever. So we drive off and we go to a police precinct. And I was like, he need to hear from somebody else because I'm tired of talking to him. So we go to the police precinct. He's asked the police officer, what can he do to get his son because he's his father and this, that, and the other. Police officer's like, you're going to have to go through the courts. Like, we can't just take you in there and take your son for you. You know, at that point, it's like, oh. That little ordeal happened. Of course, I tell my pastor's like, I never did like him. I would never bring my wife into a situation like that. You know, you don't do stuff like that. That man clearly knows that family does not like him. I don't see why he thought it was going to be so different on the day of this woman's funeral, and he brought you into that chaotic situation. I don't like him, you know. And after that, it was just like, it just went downhill for me. For me, I questioned a lot of things. I questioned, you know, what really happened when, you know, they were together. He come over. I wasn't even sexually active with him anymore. I didn't feel safe anymore around him. And,
right, because he seems like he's, you know, unstable.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you end it?
So it ended on the night where I had to go study with my partner for that class I was telling you about. Mm-hmm. And that night that I came home, you know, of course he's in his feelings because I had been gone, and no, he was mad because I didn't study with him and he doesn't even take the class. So I was just like, you know, I just need to get the work done. I have a test in the morning. He's like, well, I want to go home. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'll drop you off, you know, at the station. You can take the MARC train home to Baltimore from where I live at. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to drop you off in the morning before I go to class. And he's like, no, I'm going to go now. And mind you, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not driving all the way to Baltimore this time of night. I said, I don't want to know why you have an attitude. Like, you knew I was in class. You knew you had things to do. I don't know why you having a hissy fit right there. So he gets mad. He jumps out the bed, and he's like, I want to go home. And he starts getting up in my face. And I'm like, why are you so aggressive right now? He was like, I'm ready to go. And I was just like, I'm not. You know, I said, I'm tired. I've worked all day. I went to school. I said, I just want to relax. I just want to go to sleep. You know, so he, you know, was like jumping out the bed up in my face. So I get up because I'm like, I'm not going to stay laying here. I get up and, you know, he's got me up against the wall and he's like holding my arm and
he
stuff.
put his hands on you.
Yeah. He puts his hands on me, and I'm just like, where's all this anger coming from, and what's wrong with you? And he was just like, I'm ready to go, and I don't want to be here anymore, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, if you want to go ahead, go. Like, I'm not holding you hostage. He's like, no, you brought me here. You're going to take me home, point blank. And I'm just like, whatever. So at this point, I'm a little fearful because he's a big guy, and he studies, like, calisthenics and things like that.
And he's getting physical now.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I don't know where this is going to go. but I need to get him off of me. So I'm pushing him off of me. I'm like, look, I don't want you hurting me. I don't want to hurt you. Like, it don't have to be like that, you know. So he's just like all in my face and fussing at me, and you know, like he's just angry at this point. And then he's holding my arm, and I'm trying to let go. I'm trying to get him to let me go, but it's hurting me. So I kick him. And I'm like, look, just back up off me. So he's real hurt. I just hurry up, grab my phone, grab the keys in my car, and I go and get my car. You know, at that point, I'm calling my family. I'm like, look, I don't know what the hell is going on, but this dude just went ballistic for no reason. And so they're like, okay, my family don't take long to respond and stuff like that. They was at my house in a matter of minutes. And so my uncle covered up the steps, like, look, my niece wants you to leave. He laying in bed. He didn't lay back in the bed.
He's like, oh, we chill now. I'm good now.
Back in the bed. I came upstairs with my family, and mind you, it don't take me long to go from 0 to 1,000. I'm usually out the almighty in a situation like that. I was so quiet that night. I sat on the couch with my cousin, and she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I'm good. I just wanted to go." My uncle's in the room like, "Get your ass out." My niece's bed. Not gonna end well if you gonna keep staying here. Like, I need you to go. Like, if you need to get to a station, we gonna take you to a station, but you can't stay here no more. So he up and he's like, well, she brought me here. She said, take me home. He's like, I don't want to know that. He's like, let's just go. My uncle, he's probably the most lethal one, but the other cousins, they were en route, and I'm just kind of glad they never made it before he left.
Okay.
You know, my uncle took him to the MARC train station and was just like, get your ass on that train. Don't bring your ass back to D.C. They say don't bring your ass back to her house. Don't bring your ass
back to D.C. at all.
Period.
Don't even come to D.C.
And after that, I was done. They kept asking if I wanted to press charges. I was like, no. I just want him to leave me alone. I don't want him to call me. You know, he called a couple of times after that. I was like, look, I don't want to be bothered. Done. You know, you stay where you at, and we don't have to have any connections with each other whatsoever. I was a little bruised after that, but it only lasted about a week, and I didn't press charges or anything. I just wanted to be done with it. I just felt like I didn't want to add no more, extra to the plate. I just wanted it to be over with, and it's crazy because even after that, like about a year and a half later, he sends me an email like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's just like, hey, bro, you're a fucking idiot.
Like, no, I'm not going back there.
Every time he tries to reach out, I don't say nothing. I delete. You ain't got to ever worry about me responding to that.
So looking back on the situation, what advice would you give to someone that sees these red flags? What would you have changed or done differently? What did you learn?
I would say take your time getting to know people. I learned shortly after me and him dealt with each other that he was preying on younger women. I'm very computer savvy. I'm not a hacker. For those listening, I'm not a hacker, but I'm very computer savvy. I can figure things out. And he had been preying on younger women and trying to get them to, let him come stay with them and things like that. And, shortly after that, also, I had kept up with his court information. And he didn't get custody of his son or none of those things. And one of the things I failed to mention when we was together, he did ask me. He said, after that situation at the funeral, he said, I have a question. I said, what's that? He said, do you think I should have custody of my son? And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, why? I said, they're not stable enough. And he was like, I can't believe you said that. I thought you were sporting. And I was like, no, I'm not. I said, yeah, I'm your girlfriend, but I'm still looking at the best interest of your child. I said, he needs to be in a stable environment. Mentally, you're not stable. You can't even function properly if somebody brings up your ex-wife's name, let alone if your child wants to talk about his mama with you. How you handle that when I ask you questions about her, you flip out on me? That's not safe. That's not healthy for him.
Right, because he's
He
going to
doesn't
want to
have
talk
his
about his mom, and he's going to want to have positive memories and
exactly.
positive conversations. I'm
And
glad you told him that, because someone needed to say it.
Yeah, and I'm just not one to hold my tongue when it comes to children and things like that. I'm not. No, you're my man. I love you, but no, you're not ready for that. You know, you're just not. And until you can get over that and heal and things like that, you don't need custody of him. He's still trying to digest all of this, and then you bring your aggression and all these things you feel to him. That's not healthy for him, and he just didn't understand. And I think that's when it went left for me, where he, I guess, you know, didn't feel like he could trust me, or you know, felt like I wasn't in his corner type of thing.
He looked at you as the enemy from that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say anybody in that situation, just be careful. I'm 40, you know, but it can happen to anybody. Some people are very charismatic and they speak well and they say all these wonderful things. The red flag should have been when I found out about the domestic situation between him and his wife. I should have taken it more serious than anything. I think a lot of women aren't vocal enough with guys about how they feel because they don't want to hurt a person's feeling and they don't want to look like they're not for the person and things like that. But sometimes you gotta give people the hardcore truth about how you're feeling so they know. Right. You know, he was talking about marriage all the time, but I told him, I said, I don't think we're ready for that. And he, you know, he would always look all, you know, sad, like I just broke his heart. And I'm just like, what about me makes you want to marry me in 2 months? And my pastor actually sat us down. He was like, I want to know why he want to marry you so bad. He was like, let's have a pre-counseling session. He was like, he only does this when couples are actually engaged. He was just like, I want to bring y'all in for a pre-counseling session. I said, okay. So he sat us down at the house, asked us questions about why you want to, you know, marry her. Why do you want to marry him? And, you know, asked all these very, you know, insightful questions and stuff. And a lot of those questions, it's almost like he had an answer prepared for it. And for me, I really didn't have much to say because I wasn't on that. I wasn't on the same page as him. And I told him that, but he just couldn't. He wouldn't accept it. It was like, no, we're perfect for each other. You're my angel. You're my soulmate. And I'm just like, okay, you know.
They sound like cookie cutter responses, like they were just already, like you said, already prepared, very general, kind of generic, you know, and the right things to say that sound good.
Exactly. Wow. And I knew from there. And but some people would take that and be like, oh, this is great. You know, he's a good guy, that and the other. You know, pay attention. This man lived at home with his mom and his siblings. He really wasn't that stable, but I don't judge people by that because he worked, you know, he took care of his responsibilities and all, but he was just having this issue with trying to get his son. But he was very naive, you know, to be as smart as he was with certain things. He was very naive. And I picked up on a lot of that stuff. That's why I held back on a lot of things. That murder thing, he talked about it till he was blue in the face. And every chance I got, I was just like, we ain't ready for that. We're not ready. So I would just say, be very careful meeting people online. Online dating is convenient, it's easy, but people are able to put on a facade or a face that they want to show you online. And once you meet them, sometimes that face is a little askew a little bit, but you somehow accept it because I guess you spent so much time getting to know a person online. Once you meet them in person, you're like, okay, let's go ahead and go through with this. It's been 2 years since I've been in a committed relationship. I think I was just more anxious to be with somebody more than anything. Right. I don't regret the relationship because I feel like he needed to hear a lot of things that was said. And, you know, if it was at the expense of us not being together, that's fine. Hopefully he's a better man today. I don't really know. I really don't even care.
I definitely understand that. And I want to thank you so much, Renee, for your time and sharing your story. And giving all your insight. We appreciate it. And, you know, if there are any listeners who relate, maybe going through something similar, hopefully they'll pick up on what you said and rethink the situation. But we wish you and our listeners happiness, healing, and hope. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today.
Thank you for tuning in to Crazy Love Chronicles. You can check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can stay tuned to us on Spreaker, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube, but please be sure to subscribe. Click the bell to be notified for future videos by Crazy Love Chronicles. Our story, your story, real and uncut.